Hello, good evening. How are you all doing? First off, congratulations, Mr. Vedros. Officially now a husband to a very beautiful, never seen her, but I assume you have good taste, a very beautiful Mrs. Vedros. How was the wedding? Presumably good, because you say, you know, because it worked. You're wedded now. But I hope you had good weather and stuff, and that no problems happened. Every bride is beautiful. I've seen videos of like redneck weddings where I'm like, that looks very trashy. But then again, who am I to judge? Excited to drown. It's always fun to drown. Alright, tonight we are going to do Three Monkeys Park, which is right here. Was beautiful, only the rain was a bit early. However, we could do the ceremony outside. Oh, that's very nice. Beautiful can also be someone's character. Oh, absolutely. That's very, very true. So, Three Monkeys Park. We're all familiar with it, right? It's very iconic. It's got the 3 dueling looping coasters. And I think... I mean, it's probably... I think it's the only triple dueling coaster in the game. Not sure. But it's most likely definitely everyone's first exposure to it. The guy from the county who wed us was brilliant. Very nice. Yeah, these are really good. We are going to have take a look at them. Happy birthday, Marcel. It's quite an achievement that you're not far apart from being as wrong as you could possibly be with that. So currently red and yellow do the opposite thing, while orange does its own thing. Then red and yellow switch. And then here they... Well, red and yellow still mostly do the opposite thing. It's only here that they start doing their own thing. Red comes along from the back. It's quite well designed, this one. Half birthday, not quite, but it's not that far away. So, first thing we're going to do is a little bit of country pride. And we're going to turn this into a French flag. Oh, this is more Luxembourgish. I need it darker. There we go. The funny thing about using these 3 colors is that so many countries can identify with it. Because, obviously, if you have them next to each other like this, it's either a either a French or a Dutch flag. But also kind of a Paraguayan flag, because that's the same as a Dutch flag except with some kind of symbol in the middle. But America is of course also very big on the red, white and blue. America sees them as their colors too, not in these order as stripes of course. But there are many others like Chile, Texas, not a country but still, you know, it's a very big sort of thing. What else? Iceland, Norway, Luxembourg, sort of. That blue's a bit lighter. Serbia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Czechia. There's so many. What else? Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, which is not a country, Panama, Dominican Republic. I mean, I'm just showing off here with my knowledge of flags of all nations. And I'm proud of that. Nepal as well. Russia, of course, Russia. I mean, Russia is quite close to it. The order is different. White is at the top, I think. Is white anywhere that... I mean, it's a little... I think it's white, blue, red. Yeah, then this is sort of a Russian flag. So, yeah, you can see Russia in this as well. You know, maybe it's not a thing we want to see right now, but you can. The UK, yeah, definitely the UK. Don't forget to change the train colors. That's a good one. I'm gonna need a different base color. I'm gonna change to black as base color. White doesn't work because we already have white. Whoops. Switched to around. I mean, yes, I meant Nepal, and I was like, ooh, I'ma be funny. I'll say nipple. You know, it's a joke. It's what I do on the live stream. I try to entertain you. Let me entertain you. Who put this in this position? That's a terrible idea. You know what? Then I'll continue building like that. Ah, stupid other. Right, we'll just go down like that then. Do we already have a Marcel flag? I mean, if you want to make it rectangular, just extend the size of my profile picture a little bit. You know, more green, and then we have a Marcel flag. Where are the other queue lines? One's there, which is good. The other one, oh my god. Who, like, this is where it starts. From this on, it's a dead end. Who thought of that? I'm just gonna do that. There we go, that's such an easy connection. It's still not perfect, but you know, I'm fine with this. But we can also just do that. And that's better. Shouldn't it have blue to represent water? Yeah, but that's my second channel. That's the live streams. That's where I drown everyone. Oh, hang on. Speaking of drowning, I think I need to enable some stuff. Yeah, drown a guest, name a ride of your choice, pick a coast type to build fire. Oopsie, fire the staff. Thank you for the follow. Transail XXX. Of course, we could just put blue on the sides. And of course, I'm immediately made to drink some more water. Very nice. If we put the blue on the sides, you know, a la the Canadian flag, because the Canadian is red on the sides, then like a square of white in the middle, and then with a symbol, the maple leaf on that. This can be blue on the sides, then green in the middle, and a symbol, my cartoon face, on that. Okay, that is the start of Three Monkeys Park, I guess. I think I do want to cheat in the cash machine. And we want to do that. Object selector, cash machine, there we go. Thank you for the follow, Danny MacArthur. Okay, it's time to start building some rides. A merry-go-round, of course. So this park is World Flags Park. Not really. It's just that as soon as you use red, white and blue, you have like 50% of the world flags. Especially if you also count the flags that use like 2 of those colors. Then you have Canada, Japan, all that kind of stuff. I do love my cash machines, yes. Three Monkeys Park. There better not be another stupid monkey. Monkey! Is that... I think that's the reference you're going for, right? What reference? Well, apparently not then. It's an old Smosh video called Pokemon in Real Life. I think it was the second one. And then he encounters a Mankey and he keeps calling it a monkey and the Pokédex keeps correcting him to Mankey. I'm too old for Smosh. How old are you? Ah, good music. 34, okay, you're 7 years older than me, that makes sense. Although you might not be too old for Smosh currently. Because current Smosh is not that kind of sketch comedy. I mean, the main channel kind of is, but Smosh Pit is a lot of improv comedy. Stuff like Try Not to Laugh. And that's not where they, you know, watch silly videos and don't try not to laugh. That's, you know, that's kind of stupid. But they actually have someone sit on like a stool and other people come out and do funny bits with characters and costumes and that kind of stuff. And trying to make the person laugh. And they had like an improv funeral series. Where, you know, someone of the cast, presumably, you know, they died. And then the others would roast them. That wasn't improv. I said improv, but it's not. That's, of course... I mean, a few jokes might be improv, but most of that's pre-written. Still great, though. You know, people do characters, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm 27, Raggeds. Does that surprise you? I've had people say that they're surprised by how young I am. That they think that I'm like 40. Certainly not what I thought. Well, what did you think? I'm kind of curious now what, you know, if I say do a poll for people who don't know how old I am, how old they think I am. How old were you when you played RCT for the first time? I'm not exactly sure, but I think 4. Maybe 5. Definitely no older than 5. Their age is easy to deduce. Not really. You know, I didn't play it when it came out. I did start on RST1, but I was 2 when it came out, so I didn't play it when it came out. So, could, you know, there's definitely an upper limit to my age then, yeah. Because if I played it when I was 5 at the latest, then I was born no earlier than 1994. Year of release of RCT plus 2 is your age. Most of the year, kind of. Except for the few days late in December. Because I do turn 28 this year. I remember playing the demo over and over until it came out. And I could get my parents to drive me to the store so I could buy it. I have no idea how I got it. Presumably, probably my mom, but might have been my dad. Probably my mom saw it somewhere and was like, oh yeah, the kids will like that. Best decision of her life. Oh, to be honest, even if she didn't, I probably would have gotten around to getting it at some point, because literally everyone and their mom had it when I was young. It was super popular. I remember the dad of a friend of mine burning CDs, burning Rollercoaster Tycoon onto blank CDs for other kids just so that they could have it. Thank you for the follow, Papa Neth. Okay, how fast is it going? Okay, definitely crash-worthy fast. How tall is the support limit of this thing? Okay, I am very nearly at the limit. Very nearly. That's a much higher support limit than I thought. Hey Hoover, welcome. How are you? Mr. Vidros got married. Yesterday. Isn't it amazing? Hi Bezita, welcome. Okay, that works now. So does that. And so does... let's make it a bit higher. Just to be sure, you know? Got higher due to RST1 support limit of 25.5 meters versus the 21 of RST2. Okay, so I'm not going mad. RST2, AoE2 and SimCity 3000. Yeah, that's basically my childhood in video games. I mean, not entirely, there were some others of course. And SimCity 3000, I think I played 4 more than 3000, definitely. But yeah, I played... Oh, well, I probably played more AoE2 as an adult. Like 3 years ago, I used to play that a lot. But there's a reason that Age of Empires is... you know, there's quite a big overlap in audience between Age of Empires and Roller Coaster Tycoon. Because I watch Age of Empires stuff. I get recognized when I comment on Age of Empires videos. And I know that, you know, a bunch of Age of Empires creators, like T West, for example, watch my videos. Now, speaking of honeymoons, my brother is currently on his. He and his wonderful wife, Jessica, are currently in Japan. On a 3-week honeymoon. They got married a year ago. But they waited a bit with their honeymoon until, well, it was the perfect occasion. We're gonna go to Austria for a James Bond experience in Sölden. The wedding gift for my family-in-law. Oh, very nice. I've never heard of Sölden, but I suppose it's a place? Okay, we have here a beautiful side friction coaster. Doesn't look like a classic side friction coaster. It looks more like a, well, like a proper big coaster. But I promise you, it's a side friction coaster. Okay, let's actually follow one of the trains. Yeah, it's going to rain. Sölden is a place an hour from Innsbruck. Ah. Scroll back up and check out the dream I had. Bold of you to assume that my screen is small enough that I already need to scroll up for that. Because I can still see it without scrolling up. But first this coaster. I loved following the trains as a child. No, you didn't. At least not in this way. Because that didn't exist. That's an OpenRCT2 thing. Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 had it. I mean, you could have just, you know, clicked on it repeatedly. That would have worked. In the little window, yeah. I mean, any other way works. You know, I was just being pedantic. It was an OG. No, it wasn't. So, Hooverkins' dream. I had another dream about Joel last night. You are obsessed. We went out for dinner and Marcel had a sticky cologne that gave him a rash. What? Oh, stinky. Oh, like sticky? Still though. So I braided his hair to get it off his neck and then Duval ordered a whole sushi boat for himself. It makes no sense, but then again, that's what dreams do. Hang on. I mean, I am into the braiding my hair part, because that seems nice. I've never had anyone braid my hair. My hair is easily long enough for it. But yeah, the other bit, I'm not that into having a rash. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just weird. Hey, Carrie, welcome. Okay, how about we... No, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, that's better. Need some brown in here. Yeah, that's good. Maybe it's because when I'm asleep, you guys are the only people I know who are awake since you're in different time zones, so you transport into my dreams. Imagine if that's actually how the world worked. But that would also have to make you appear in my dreams. Because I don't know many people who live on the other side of the planet. Like, most people I actually have spoken to, which includes you, you know, we've been in voice chats. Most people I've actually spoken to are Europeans. Or even mostly Dutch people. Do you dream about streaming? I can't say I haven't, because I don't remember every dream, but I don't remember ever having dreamed about streaming. That pun. What? Did I make a pun? Or did someone else do that? I had a dream once where I was starting a stream and the audience was in my flat. That seems... Wait, you were watching a stream and the audience was in your flat? Huh. That's a bit... So you were not even the one streaming. We fly to Innsbruck and drive to our location in Silden, where we are going to the Hofner Clinic from the James Bond movie Spectre. You know, all those terms, I mean places more, like, don't say anything, don't mean anything to me. I've never watched any James Bond film, but I like the songs. You know, you have Skyfall from Adele. You have my favorite, No Time to Die from Billie Eilish. And that's the only two I know. So I can't say I know them very well. But the songs I know I like. What do you think of Billie Eilish's new album? Hang on, she has a new album? Billie Eilish. Hit Me Hard and Soft. Well, I didn't know about that, so I don't think anything about it. Again, I would absolutely love to now just listen to like a song on stream, right? And discuss it together. But yeah, that's not gonna happen. Because copyright. You know what, I do want a statue here. James Bond drinks a martini, stops the bad guy and gets busy with the girl. Wash, rinse, repeat for pretty much all of them. That's kind of the stuff I know. I know about the Bond girl, I know about the martini, shaken, not stirred, or the other way around. And obviously he's a spy and, you know, stops bad guys. Whee! We just had a crash. We just had a crash. We just had a crash. There is death, there was an explosion. Guest Blue is watching it. He finds it very arousing. See the smoke, it reeks of death. Is this a song from Billie Eilish's new album? Hell yes. I love these exactly. They take pictures of it. The dark corpses there. Damn. Drown Guest 606. Yeah, he deserves that. Absolutely deserves that. Goodbye, you disgusting piece of shit. Anyway, I'll just lower the chain lift speed. Hope that helps. I think I was talking about something when that happened. Three Monkeys Park. I heard this one was difficult. It's from Corkscrew Follies, right? It's indeed from Corkscrew Follies / added attractions. And I mean, yeah, 1400 guests, I guess. It is in beginner parks, but it's not the easiest. Oh yeah, Carrie, you said I love the queerness of it, of the album, Billie Eilish's album. Is she queer? Last time I checked, my knowledge on it, she wasn't. But then again, I don't keep up to date, so who knows? Maybe she has come out. Apparently, yes. I think she was in denial about it for a while. Well, that's a common thing, unfortunately. It's funny, isn't it? Being gay or queer or, you know, whatever kind of LGBT gets more accepted, and then suddenly people are, whoa, it's turning people gay. No, it's making people that were already gay actually come to terms with it and accept it about themselves. And sure, there are always people who are like, ooh, I'm gay, when they're actually not. But there are very, very few people who do it on purpose. And some people do, but they're also just, you know, trying to find themselves. And they might think wrong about themselves. You know, that happens. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, she's also only 21. Because she's been big in the music industry since about 2017, right? She, you know, a few years before that she had like some kind of minor hits, but she's been big since about 2017. No, not 2017, since she was 17. Sorry, she was 17. So she's been big for about 4 years now. So about 2020. Maybe late 2019, something like that, right? That already feels like she's fairly established. Because she became big with the bad guy. That already feels quite a while ago. Probably because the whole pandemic that came after it and stuff. But yeah, she's only 21. That's incredibly young still. And there are a lot of people who don't realize they are gay or other kind of queer until way past 21. Isn't added attractions and Corkscrew Follies the same thing? Yes, it is. You know, it's kind of funny. I remember... Yeah, that was 2019. It was the summer holiday. We were in Iceland. And she had kind of just blown up a bit. So that was around the time she kind of blew up. And I was kind of, well, you know, her looks is kind of really emo and I'm not, you know. I thought it was a bit weird. I didn't actively shit on it or anything. I just, well, you know, it's a bit weird. It's not for me, whatever. And then... I think like her next album came out or something like that. And at some point, like half a year later, I got really into the music. And suddenly I was like, this shit bangs. It's amazing. Let's make that into more of a hilltop instead of a pointy hill. The vomit rings. Exactly. It's the worst ride in the game. 21 is an age where a lot of people start figuring out the important stuff about their identities. Yeah. Although Billie Eilish doesn't, of course, really have a standard life. Because 21 is usually when you're, you know, if you go to college or university, it's usually when you're in there for a few years. And so it kind of makes sense that you're kind of discovering yourself around that time. Now, Billie Eilish didn't really do that. But still. I'd enjoy riding these rings. Yeah, it seems fun to me too. Only if I have a stop button. Kind of. I once went on a ride which was similar to this. That was at Aviodrome in Lelystad. And you were strapped in, but you weren't, like, right now you're being rotated in 3 directions here, and all the axes go through the middle of your body, right? For me that was just kind of like a bar above my head, and that was the only axis of rotation, and I was just kind of spun around that bar, right? You know, like that. So when it goes 90 degrees forward, you're kind of with your back to the ground, and then another 90 degrees and you're upside down, and it kind of spun around like that, and there was someone else beside me. And that was fun. But before we started, they told us, if you ever want us to stop, just yell stop, and we will. And I did at some point need to yell stop, because it was getting a bit too much for me. I didn't vomit or anything, but I did start to feel a bit nauseous. Do you have staff? Yes, I have. One very hard-working handyman. You know, we should actually build some more stalls here in the back and fire all the staff. You guys are so goddamn predictable. We still don't have a food stall. That's not the biggest of problems. Well, it kind of is, actually. 'Cause energy. Although guests do gain energy while they're queuing, so... Of course, they're not queuing very long for a ride like this. Okay, let's make a mini SAS. And we've hit the support limit, stupid ride. But now, I'm gonna listen to her new album tonight. Because I quite like Billie Eilish. It's funny, like 5 years ago, I would have never listened to her because I would have deemed that too soft. Because around that time I was in a phase where I was like, I need to listen to as heavy music as possible because that's cool, that's heavy, it makes me tough. And while I still get kind of that feeling when I'm listening to like a super heavy song that I really get into, like Eternal Darkness from Winter Sun, I don't feel that way anymore about music in general. You know, at some point I kind of realized that that's stupid, and I started just listening to whatever music I like. And that's a lot more fun. And I still mostly listen to metal and rock. It's not like I've stopped enjoying that. I just like heavy music. Yeah, me too. As I said, I still mostly listen to rock. But... rock and metal. But I also listen to whatever else I like. You know, I've been talking with people about music, and some people just say, you know, when I say I'm a metalhead, some people say, well, you know, I don't really have a genre, I just listen to whatever I like. And I'm like, yeah, I do too. It just, the natural consequence of that is just that my playlist happens to be mostly metal, because that's what I tend to like. It's not that I, at least right now, am like, I can only listen to that. It's just that that's what I tend to gravitate towards. I strongly prefer soft music. I like singing along. Those two statements, like, they do not really fit together. Because I sing along to my metal music. Loudly. Proudly. My dad says DJ Johnny J, that's a tongue twister, says hi. Hello, John. The science fiction coaster, now this abomination. Are you picking all the crummy coasters? Well, I really like the science fiction, actually. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but definitely in the top half. I'm not a fan of the minisus, but I don't know, Max would like it if he was here. You can sing along to death metal. Best thing about it, it's if you get the lyrics wrong, it doesn't matter because no one can understand the lyrics anyway. I can't sing along to death metal. You know, if you like death metal, whatever, you know, taste is taste. But I can't sing along to that. I can't sing along to ooh, oh, 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 oh. You know, basically that kind of noise. Now, most of the metal I listen to has either clean vocals, or they are screamed or growled, but you can still quite easily understand them. Wasn't that more like black metal? Black metal is more high pitches usually. Although, of course, every metal genre, the metal genres, you know, kind of overlap. Black metal is kind of what made me realize that listening to heavy music because it's heavy and because it makes you tough, or you think it makes you tough, is stupid. Because for a while I was like, you know, it can't be heavy enough for me, and I was, you know, kind of getting into heavier and heavier music. And at some point I started checking out some black metal bands because I was like, yeah, I'm into black metal too, sure. But then I realized I wasn't into that at all. I didn't really mind the sounds too much. Like, they weren't necessarily my favorite, but I didn't really mind them either. But it was just the lyrics and stuff that just put me off. And at that point I kind of started to realize I can't just listen to, you know, if I listen to like a really heavy song from some metal band, I can still listen to, say, Billie Eilish. There's nothing wrong with that. One day I'll learn to scream. Yeah, same. I'd love to learn to scream. The problem is, I don't think my neighbors would love it very much if I started to learn to scream. Which is, of course, entirely fair. What's up, Mr. Slime? Round 6 or 7, alright, in a minute. And we're finally back at the station. This thing was way longer, turned out to be way longer than I imagined it to be. Okay, let's find guest 6 or 7. Fearing confrontation from the neighbors is what's keeping us from is what's keeping me from buying a trumpet. I played trumpet as a kid, but we were living in a freestanding house. I was also absolutely positively shit at it. Also, someone said they liked my video I uploaded earlier today. That was like a few minutes ago. Hang on, who was that? Because I wanted to talk a bit about that. Oh, hi Grizdaffer, welcome to your first stream. That was so long ago that someone said I can't find it. Well, whatever. I hope you guys liked the video. It's kind of the end of a series, right? Sort of, because it's the ultimate optimization. We have beaten a scenario using just one tile and no rides and staff. Was it me? Maybe. I don't know. No spoilers. I mean, the thumbnail, you know, what I've just said is kind of, you can already see from the thumbnail. So, it's not that big of a spoiler. Of course, there are still other optimizations to be had. For example, Ghost Town. Ghost Town, you need to build 10 rides with at least 7 excitement. I talked a bit about it with Nusse, and he wagers that 14 tiles is possible. I did a video a while ago where I did with 60, you know, a 15 by 4 area. He reckons a 2 by 7 area is possible. Although he hasn't fully tested it, so there's a chance it won't work. Although when it comes to Nusse, good chance that it will work. Okay, let's actually follow one of these. Once back at the station. The next one should be, can you beat empty airfield by building a normal park? As part of the Marcel Play series. I mean, at the rate I'm completing the Marcel Play series, that's gonna be like 5 years from now. Probably more. 10 years? People do joke about, you know, I beat Roller Coaster Tycoon without opening the game. But Dirklink already did that for April Fools. That seems like a nice wide turn after the very tight turn at the bottom. Can they go around more than 3 at a time? I don't know. I don't know, actually. No. 3 is the maximum. Or beat the game without using the mouse. I mean, just no, it's not possible. Like, for example, in quite a few scenarios you need to open the park, but you can't open the park without a mouse. You can't build anything without a mouse. I think there's only one scenario you can beat without using the mouse. And that is Hyde Park. Because I've literally beaten that one without doing anything. Well, if you use the trackpad on a laptop, I mean that counts as a mouse, obviously. You could use auto hotkey, but that's cheating. Yeah, obviously. That's still using the mouse, though. Like, we should say you should the language, English, talking. We should say not beating without a mouse, but beating without the cursor. And then be like, ooh, RCT Classic on the phone. Does a touchpad or the keyboard nipple count as a mouse? I mean, if you're any kind of serious in, you know, can you beat this game without using the mouse? Then, of course the answer is yes, it counts as a mouse. Because otherwise it's not a challenge, is it? It's like, ooh, you know, I'm not using the mouse, but I am using... I am using a trackpad. Which means that which means that in the end it makes no difference. It's only a little bit slower to build stuff. Like, yeah, that doesn't make for a challenge. Yeah, no moving the cursor and no click tab. Basically, it's, you know, the spirit of that is just without using the cursor. Beating RCT with a controller. I mean, yes, that's easy. Because RCT has been brought out for the Xbox. But then we're back to the same thing. There's no challenge because for the Xbox there is no mouse anyway. So it's not like the mouse has any functionality. Also, beating Roller Coaster Tycoon with a controller is like super easy. Because it's not like you need to build very fast to do stuff. So it may be annoying to build stuff, but you have all the time in the world. And if you need more time to navigate menus, just pause the game. The no drowning guests. I've done that. In late 2023. I did a video where I tried to beat Roller Coaster Tycoon without drowning any guests, and I failed. Is this aligned? No, it's not. Now it is. Beat the game, but your mom is playing and you have to tell her what to do. I mean, same thing. Easy. I can literally tell her, click on that icon, click on that icon, click on that icon, move your mouse to there. No, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, up. Okay, fine, now click. The reason that doesn't really work in Roller Coaster Tycoon is because it's kind of a point and click game, right? Now, if it's a game where you control a character, you know, let's say Mario, then videos like that have a lot of potential. Because my mom, I remember once, it was this, I think it was probably like 12 years ago or so, 12, 13 years ago. We had some game and I forgot, I think it was a Red Faction Guerrilla. That my brother and I were playing, and at some point, you know, we had a car, we had a big monster truck thing, and we were just like, Mom, can you just try to drive this around? Not fast, not good, not anywhere, just drive. And that was on the Xbox, so you have an Xbox controller, and so the, you know, your right shoulder trigger is the gas, and the left one is brakes, and then you steer with one of the joysticks. Really intuitive. For us. Because we've been playing games all our lives. My mom, who is a fine driver in real life, could not for the life of her control the car. Not even slightly. I think a lot of you don't appreciate how difficult it actually is to do that kind of stuff. You know, if I right now pick up a new game, some racing game or some RPG, I will have to learn exact controls for stuff, you know. How do I switch weapons, or how do I go to inventory, or, you know, maybe a different button for jump for once, between different games, you know, stuff like that. But once I know that, I'm really good at it, naturally, because I've been playing those kinds of games all my life. But if you haven't, like my mom, then you're shit at it. It's kind of like Rob Scallon, you know, he's a YouTuber, he's a great guitarist, and you know, he can also play the bass, I believe, and he lately does a lot of videos where he showcases some expert with an instrument, and they're fairly often string instruments, and he can pick up kind of any string instrument quite quickly. Not be like a master at it, not at all, or even a pro, not even close, but he can like pick up to the basics really quickly, because he's an expert on other string instruments, and the skills translate closely enough that that works. I kind of want more thrill rides. Yeah, my mom can drive a car, B-Jones. She's a fine driver. Like, nothing amazing, but also nothing terrible. Just a fine driver. Yeah, a lot of the core concepts of video games are forgotten about. Because to those who play video games, they come so natural. Like, when you play a platformer, estimating how fast you need to go to make a jump. You know, it differs a little bit per game, but the core concept is often very, very similar between different games. My mom used to play RCT. I need to get it installed on her computer when I go back home over the summer. You know, there was a video on, now a post on Reddit a bunch of years ago. That was like, my mom made this park. And it was quite a good park. It had a couple of different sections, you know, some fairly elaborate coasters, well themed. And then someone commented on it. You know, basically said, bullshit, your mom didn't build this. It's just... you built it and you're trying to get extra karma points. And then they responded by making a video of their mom, of his mom. He kind of recorded his mom playing the game. And it started out with his mom speaking to the camera and repeating one of the, you know, the comments that said it was fake. Something like, ooh, let's show you my fake ass shit park. And then she opened up the game and did a walkthrough through the park in a way that only someone who built it would know about it. That was brilliant. There was a reviewer who called the standard controls we have in first-person games on console horrendous when he first used it in the first game that used those controls. Oh, you mean like back in the day when that game came out? Yeah, at that point no one was used to it, so I can imagine someone not liking it. Oh yeah, that woman was an absolute legend for that. Citizen Elsewhere, you're absolutely right. It's wild that people think only people of a certain age can play video games. Maybe 30 years ago, but not now. That's true, but also, let's say that mom played some video games 30 years ago. If she was 15 then, she can be 45 now. And if she got a kid on her 25th, that kid is now 20 years old. But even then, video games do have unfairly a kid by, you know, people think it's for kids. And it is true that kids play more video games, but that's also because they have more free time. But something like Roller Coaster Tycoon, what is inherently kid about Roller Coaster Tycoon? If you think about it, nothing really. I mean, it's a very kid-friendly activity. But so is painting or drawing. No one is calling that a thing for kids. You know, an adult getting into drawing, then that absolutely, you know, people are like, yeah, go you know, creative expression. But an adult getting into Roller Coaster Tycoon and making, you know, very nice parks and making all these kind of nice gardens and beautiful buildings and all that kind of stuff. Some people will be like, isn't that a game for kids? Like, what do you mean? What is inherently kid-like about this? The answer is, of course, nothing. There's nothing inherently kid about this. Of course, the best thing is just that I, a 27-year-old adult, make a living playing video games. But there are also people on YouTube even still older than I. What's in the... Is that like dropping down or something? There are people like 20 years older than me that make a living playing video games on YouTube. Does it really matter anyway? I do countless things that are supposedly for kids. It doesn't really matter on the surface of it, right? But when other people start judging you for it, it can matter. You know, you can say, you know, oh, you know, just don't care what other people think. You can say that all you want, but at some point, if other people think of you as childish, it does matter. You know, if a friend tells you that something you do is childish, then people can say, oh, just ignore them all they want, but it still hurts. It's not that simple. I wouldn't allow my non-existent child to watch 99% of anime. Yeah, that's also, of course, anime is seen as a thing for kids. And of course, lots of cartoons are for kids. But, you know, of course, you have to you know, the kind of sitcom cartoons, Simpsons, Family Guy, that kind of stuff. That's definitely not for kids. But also a lot of, you know, kind of really mature stuff. Thank you for the 4 months, Lurking Llama. Happy 7-month anniversary. Thanks for playing a game that brings back childhood memories. Oh wait, 4-month streak, 7 months. So yeah, thank you for the 7 months. Well, I'm happy doing this, so thank you. It's also kind of a thing, right, that I just thought of. A lot of the time, people kind of look down on doing things just because kids do them. Like, things are called childish just because it's a thing that kids often do. But if you think about it, that makes no sense. Like, for example, playing tag is childish. Because kids do it. You know, it's a thing that kids do a lot. But there's nothing inherently childish about it. I mean, I wouldn't call eating childish because kids do it. I literally talked with a student the other day about why we stopped playing as adults. It's such a ripoff. Yeah. Like, if I see a good tree, I'll climb in it. If it's climbable, of course, for me. Because, you know, I like climbing in trees. It's a nice little challenge. And fire all the stuff. Well, the park is gonna be a mess. That's one of the perks of my job working with kids. I get to play tag on the playground and all those things and get paid to do it. Yeah, that is one of the perks. I mean, I right now get paid for playing video games. A lot of making my videos isn't really playing video games per se. But right now it is. Okay, have we unlocked any new thrill rides? Hell yeah, launched freefall. Now, that is a ride that usually does give a lot of pukies. So, let's see what happens with no staff. Let's make it extra pukey as well. We're doing downward launch. That one has like double the nausea of upward launch. Speaking of work, I'm gonna eat lunch and then walk to work. I'll talk to you later. Alright, see ya, Hoover. But yeah, I really get kind of annoyed because with people saying, "Oh, that's childish." Recently, there was on some Dutch subreddit, there was posted an article about someone who was what do you call that in English? Hang on. Let me Google that. That is there's a lot of translations and neither seem right to me. What do you call this? Because Google Translate said cock horse. Hobby horse. Okay, I also saw that. But apparently it also means pet peeve? I have never heard of the word stokpaardje being used as pet peeve in the Netherlands. So I don't know if I do this. Okay, then we'll do hobby horse. Anyway, there was an article about a girl, you know, probably like 20 years old or something like that, who was participating in the World Hobby Horse Championships. And you're basically riding around on a hobby horse, you know, running around as kids often do. You know, to be the best in the world. Hobby Horse World Champion. I can't type. You know, stuff like that. You basically do what a horse does, but you do it on a hobby horse. And there was someone who like, well, that's childish. And I kind of got into a little bit of an argument. And at some point I was like, can you please describe why it is childish? What exactly about it makes it childish? And he said, well, it's obvious, right? And I was like, what makes this more childish than kicking a ball around? You know, referencing soccer, football. Or I also mentioned like just running, or I'm not sure, swimming. I mentioned some other sport. And he said, if I have to explain that, it's too late for you. Or something like that. It's hopeless, or whatever he said. Which means I had no rebuttal. But that kind of infuriates me. Because what's childish about it? Like, if you think that's childish, and I understand why you think that, because you've been told your entire life that it is. That, you know, hobby horse or tank or whatever, you know, it's stuff that kids do, it's not stuff that adults do. But think about it. What about riding a stick horse, a hobby horse, is inherently childish compared to running after a ball and trying to kick it in a net? I love suing cute plushes. No, but that's an adult thing. Having them is a child thing. Making them is an adult thing. It's weird, isn't it? I mean, I have plushes and no one ever bothered about it. But still, you know, in general, you know, plushes and stuff like that is seen as a kid thing. I'm also seen as childish sometimes because I'm a furry and I fool around in a fursuit. I mean, depending on what you mean with fool around, it's the opposite of childish. But even if it's nothing to do with sex, like, yeah, why is dressing up for a theater production a normal thing to do, but just dressing up as a wolf or whatever isn't. Like, I'm not a furry, but I can kind of see why people like it. Because it's fun to dress up. I think the logic is that it's a toy that's very distinctly designed for children. Yeah, but what is it about children that plushies are specifically designed for them? Like, why would children necessarily derive a greater pleasure from plushies than adults do? Why is a plushie different from having a little statue in your house or a painting? I guess playing with plushies in your imaginary worlds and stuff like that is something that children do tend to do more. But I do wager that it's partly also because it's being seen as taboo for adults. If right now I played with plushies and I was having a whole pretend world and I love doing it. Let's say I did. I don't really do that, but let's say I did. And let's say I did it, you know, at my parents' place and my mom walked in. She would be like, what? Do you still do that? You know, something like that. And like, because it's kind of taboo, which is a bit weird if you think about it. Oh, you were still on hobby horses. I mean, I guess hobby horses are mainly designed for children, but then if some adult is, you know, like, oh, I want to do that too, then, like, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with that? I think society has a tendency to view being like a child as a negative thing because society tends to view children lesser than adults. Very much. I think you've hit it on the head there. And that's such a shame. Yeah, it's similar to, oh, you're just a child. And, you know, you can absolutely be childish. Because children, because they're not fully developed yet, tend to more often act in, you know, different ways. Like throwing a tantrum when their food is cold. Or something like that, right? Or when they don't like the food, you know. An 18-year-old who still lives at home, which is most 18-year-olds, don't tend to throw a tantrum when their parents cook food that they don't like. They are either just suck it up, or they are like, alright, I don't like that, I'll get my own food. So you can definitely act childish. But that's different from doing activities, you know, that are specifically for children, because why can't adults do that? But that's a weird thing anyway, right? Because cooking, and that's something that the wife does. The woman in the relationship does that, of course. But professional cooking, nah, that's something for men. You know, chefs are men. Women can't be chefs. Isn't that weird? I don't actually believe that, by the way. That was, you know, kind of me imitating what, you know, what, you know, a lot of people kind of think or used to think 20, 30 years ago. But that's so bizarre, right? That it's such a weird double standard. Yeah, an adult throwing a tantrum because they didn't get what they want. Yeah, that is a legit example. That's why I mentioned it. That is an example of being childish. But that's kind of just immature, I guess. I personally don't care of the gender of the cook as long as the food is good. I'm fine with it. Obviously. Like, I wasn't being serious when I said that. I was just like, if you think about it, home cooking is traditionally seen as something that the wife does, versus professional cooking is something that men do. Which is weird. And it's, you know, and I'm not stupid. Like, if you ask me, you know, I kind of know why those double standards developed and stuff. I'm not ignorant of that, but I'm still peeved by them. Wait a minute. No, never mind. I thought that one was broken down again, so I thought it might not be connected. Hang on, we just don't have staff. So it just doesn't get fixed. That explains it. Yeah, baking is a women's art, of course it is. But bakeries, I think, traditionally more often have a man in them. But I have a good way. I have a very good idea of how we can immediately eradicate all gender bias in cooking, both home and professionally. From now on, the only people in the world who are allowed to cook anything are intersex people. Boomers will get so mad when that happens. Boomers get mad about everything. I mean, not all boomers, of course, but you know, your stereotypical boomer gets mad about everything. It kind of reminds me of a quote of me. Yes, I'm going to quote myself. Because yesterday my live stream on my Voss channel about making the gayest park ever went live, and someone timestamped a quote of mine that they liked. And at that time I said, you know, the gay agenda is very, very real. They have an agenda that they want us to follow, which is they want to be respected. And it's kind of, I mean, it's sad, of course, with all the with every, you know, all the stuff that happens because of it. But if you think about it, it's also kind of funny that people get so incredibly mad when someone just says, you know, I am gay. If I want to be in a relationship, it will be with men who are also gay, who also want to be in a relationship with men. And all we want is for you to not bother us. And then they're so mad about it. Thank you for the 2 months, Captain Radbeard. And yeah, that's kind of funny, but of course the outcomes of that is kind of sad. Like all the people that are super butthurt about the word cis. You know, I do kind of have double feelings about the word cis, because at the same time it's just a word that describes me. I'm a cis, hetero, white man. You know. But sometimes people do say it, you know. Oh, you're a cis man. They do kind of use it insultingly. That was a loud motorcycle. They do use it insultingly, which honestly is... Because it's not a very commonly used word. The percentage where I see it used insultingly is not super high, but still higher than you might think. And even though I have nothing to fear from anyone, it's never nice when someone does use it in an insulting way. People also use trans insultingly. I mean, yeah, that's a much bigger problem. Like, I'm not saying I'm being harassed or anything. It's not like it's a massive problem. But that doesn't mean it's not annoying when it happens. I never thought I'd ever get a chance to join one of Marcel's live streams again. Well, welcome, Beach Leader. I mean, the word itself is not an insult, Poil the pincushion, but someone can say it in an insulting way. You know, the word gay is not an insult, but, you know, can be used in an insulting way. Very, very easily. People can basically use any descriptive term as an insult as a thing. Oh yeah, they absolutely can. Are info kiosk and gift shop not redundant? The gift shop had a toy. You know, we were talking about plushies earlier. The gift shop sells them. And the info kiosk doesn't. You can even see them, that, you know, the little white and purple plushes. We sell them for $2.50. Let's make that 3. A cuddly toy. People already have a map from the entrance. That probably. But they might not have an umbrella. So when it starts to rain, the closer one is by, the more likely they are to buy one for 20 bucks. By the way, for all the Dutch folks, we finally do have a new minister-president. I don't know how long it took, but it took a long time for us to get one after we voted a long time ago. And I don't want to get too much into the politics of the guy. I don't even know much about him. I had never heard of him before. But the funny thing is, his name is Dick. Dick Schoof. Still not confirmed. You mean not confirmed? I've seen like a billion news articles that said he is the new Prime Minister. He's still only a candidate, huh? But yeah, it'll never not be funny. Even in English, Dick is a fairly common name. But it will still always be funny. Also, schoof is the Dutch word for shoved. Like, to shove something out of the way. So his name is kind of like Dick Shoved. He's not really affiliated with any party. He was sort of had a very high position at the AIVD, which is the Dutch version of the CIA. You know, the people who keep a watch on everything. Should probably do some more gardening. Here's a good place. What kind of color? Oh, that's not good. That's kind of lovely. That's lovelier, though. And we'll go... like that. 'Cause why not? I spilled my beads. Beads? Anal beads? I seriously don't know what you mean with beads. You have my attention. Of course, when I say that. Bracelets and necklace beads. I guess maybe something like that. Why do we have spooky theming? Is that used somewhere or something? Huh. I did not research that. I think I specifically disabled theming, right? I mean, at least right now. We're only doing thrill rides. You know, maybe a food stall is not such a bad idea. We can definitely put the Mr. Bones somewhere. You know, if we do that. Yeah, pa 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 pa. Mr. Bones, Mr. Bones. Seed beads in a tube. What are seed beads? Oh, they're very tiny. Good luck cleaning that up, lol. You know, I mentioned this in a video, but there's probably at least one person in here who doesn't know this. This clock actually... it just moved. This clock actually tells the time. It's currently here a little bit past 10:30. And if you look at the big one and the short one, it's actually in the correct position. With 12 being that way. And I think that's really, really cool. I only realized that I think a few years ago. Would be great if the cock if the cock could be rotated and be hung on walls. But no, you're right. If I may pronounce that correctly, if the clock could be rotated to hang on walls. Imagine that though. You know how people, when they hunt, they take like the head of whatever animal they killed, like a lion or a bear or whatever, and they put it on the wall, right? Imagine if instead of the head, they did it with the penis. You have like a wall of different animal cocks. I think I did once see an elephant penis mounted on a wall in a zoo. I have a museum for you. Yeah, there's a penis museum somewhere. Don't they have like a blue whale penis, which is like 2 meters, 2 meters long? Iceland. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know where it is, but I have heard of it. I once played a D&D character who did that. Wow. If the penis museum doesn't have a dildo shop, I'd be very disappointed. I mean, maybe they won't have an outright dildo shop, but surely they have some kind of gift shop, right? With penis-shaped things. Which, imagination. I will say no more. Quick story, in my 9th grade health class, we all had to do projects on various STDs with visuals. They ended up hanging on the walls on the classrooms afterwards. It was basically a gallery of diseased penises. Maybe not the most tasteful thing, but probably definitely works as educational stuff. We also had to do that. We also had to do projects on different STDs. I don't remember which one I got. I mean, not literally. But which one I did a project on. Ninth grade, you say? I had it in 2nd class of high school. So I would have been 12 or 13. How old were you? How old is 9th grade? Hey, we got a couple of fatties that crashed the coaster. Seriously, this thing has been in operation for a long, long time. So this must have been a selection of really heavy guests. Okay, so you were 13. So about the same age. Ninth grade is third year of middelbare school. Well, if they're 13, then... I mean, maybe. I was 13 at the start of high school, so... At the start of third year of high school, I was 13. So maybe. Fat shaming the dead. I wasn't shaming them. It's just factual. Drink some water. Good idea. You know, I don't really remember how good our sex education was. Because I remember learning about STDs and learning about, you know, all the different parts of a penis and of a vagina and the female reproductive system, the male reproductive system. We had tests on that. And, you know, we learned about menstruation and a different kind of ways to, you know, alleviate it. You know, pads, tampons, and some other stuff. So it was somewhat extensive. But what I mostly don't remember, like, I do remember that stuff, but what I don't remember is how well we learned about basically queer people. Of course we learned about, you know, some people are gay or bi, but anything more, I don't know. I don't remember. They taught the boys about menstruation too. Yeah, of course. I've heard about that, separated by gender, but I'm like, why? You know, considering some tales of what I've heard about American sex education, it's very possible that I, as a 14-year-old boy, knew more about the female reproductive system than many, like, 18-year-old women in America. Just because I was taught about it in school. I remember them handing out empty boxes of condoms to show what they looked like and what information was in them. They asked us to look at the expiration date. Mine expired in 1994. So it was 2005. That's a while ago. Those weren't used. I'm glad school taught you useful things. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there are so many stories about men not understanding why women feel like shit a few days every month. Or thinking they can just hold it in. Or whatever. So I'm very glad that I was taught how it works properly. We just unlocked the hat stall. Still no food stall. We had gender-separated sex ed, but I think it was better for the girls that us guys were far away, so they could actually learn something and not have constant mockery from those types of guys. That didn't happen. You know, I don't even remember guys, you know, being like, pussy, or something like that, but I imagine that even if they did, like, they would, you know, they would first be reprimanded, because, yeah, of course it's funny, you know, people will be a bit funny about it. But at some point, they would probably just been, you know, sent out of the class and given detention. If they did. I don't remember that happening, though, so... But yeah, overall I can say my school had excellent sex education. If you think about it now, all the stuff I just mentioned being taught in school, yeah, absolutely excellent. I think we did watch a childbirth movie as well. I remember I was 11 in the first year of high school, and we had a class called verzorging, which kind of translates to care. You know, caring about someone else, yourself, stuff like that. And it was not really, it was, you know, sort of related to biology, but more about sort of like the human aspect, sort of bit of mental aspect, bit of your body. And we had a book for it, and on one page of the book, there were illustrations of boys and girls and men and women naked, you know, with, just to show you what the genitals looked like. And I remember as an 11-year-old boy kind of looking at it, be like, hehe, naked. But if if you think about it, it's a very good thing, because there's nothing weird about it, and that's the, you know, having that stuff at that kind of age and talking about it does help making that very, you know, normalized. But I don't think in a lot of places those kind of pictures wouldn't fly to be just in a school textbook. Sex education encompasses such a variation of topics, but even adults can't properly reason about the topic because it contains the word sex. Yeah, it's such a shame, because it's so important. But also, maybe it's just my memory being faulty, but I can't remember us, you know, as kind of a group of kids and me and my friends being particularly weird about the whole sex ed stuff. Maybe it was just too normalized. Of course, you know, there were a little, you know, laughs to be had, of course. After all, it's, you know, it's still kind of a, you know, funny thing, it's still sex, and as a kid, of course, you know, you do a bit, you know, you laugh a bit about it, and it's still a bit, ooh, sex, you know. But not too much. At least as far as I can remember. Forgive me, I forgot the name, but I knew someone who wanted out of sex ed because they didn't have any interest in sex. They were allowed to just for STI lessons in the end. That's a terrible idea. Presumably you were like 13, 14 when you learned about that. Who at that point also already knows they don't have any interest in sex for the rest of their life? Yeah, that's asexual. Thank you, Carrie. But why should they not learn about it? And even if you are asexual, it's still useful to know, you know, how a penis works, that, you know, that gay people exist, that asexual people exist. I'm not sure if I was taught about asexual people at my school. Especially, you know, that would have been 2009 and 2010. At that point, you know, stuff like that was a little bit less widely known about anyway. Let's say, you know, 14 years ago. Oh, I placed this one tile too low. Oh well. No, I'll just do it like that. I don't think anyone should ever be excused from sex education. I don't know what sex ed is like these days here in Poland, but we had politicians that wanted to keep kids away from that until recently, feeling they shouldn't be initiated to such stuff. I mean, that's such a stupid way of thinking. It's literally the human mind has evolved to want sex. That is, you know, one of our most basic instincts. They're gonna figure it out. Whether you mention it or not. My sex ed teacher once famously told our class, if you're a guy that likes guys, that's gross. If you're a girl that likes girls, that's hot. Okay, now, there are people who think that way. Mostly men, of course. You know, they don't like gay, but, you know, they like the lesbian porn or whatever, because that's hot. If you think about that, that's not ideal, but if you keep it to yourself, you know, you know, that's not that bad. If you're a biology teacher, a sex ed teacher, who tells that to their, like, 14-year-old classroom, what the hell? That's just completely out of line. That's ridiculous. That was just weird. That's not weird. That's like whatever is the more extreme version of weird. Highly inappropriate as well. Insane, yeah. That's a good word. Gross, yeah, also. Yeah, I've heard funny stories about people teaching sex education. That they were like, you know, someone said, you know, our teacher would have us all yell, you know, the entire class yell penis a bunch of times. And maybe vagina as well, I don't know. And then, you know, then they would laugh about it because it's funny and yada. And then the teacher would say, alright, you've laughed about it. It's, you know, you're used to it now. Let's get on to the actual education. I think that we didn't do that, but I think that's a good, you know, it's a good strategy. I mean, this is what I feel when I watch both, but it's just because what I as a person find attractive. I mean, yeah, I mean, I find the idea of, you know, having any kind of sexual relationship with a guy gross because I'm heterosexual. But that's a very different gross than thinking homosexuality is gross because it's wrong. That's not something I think. Gross is such a harsh word. I mean, some things are just gross, like... I mean, I'm not gonna say certain things because that make like the wrong comparison, but... Like, you can personally find a thing gross, but it doesn't mean the thing itself is necessarily gross. There's a kind of different uses of the words. I have to say it's interesting to come to your stream finally and listen to these discussions. Different experience than just watching your YouTube. Yeah, we can discuss about a whole lot of things here. I find blue cheese gross. Yeah, exactly. You know, it doesn't mean that it by its nature is gross. Do we finally have a food stall? Yes, we do. We have a hot dog stall. Finally. Also moment, my teacher was talking about her partner in art class. Someone asked, do you mean he? She said no, she. And the student was genuinely happy to see this. Turned out he was gay too, realizing same-sex relationships are a norm and respected in some places. It took me a while to get that, but your teacher is gay and has, you know, is a woman who has a wife, presumably. And the student was happy to see someone talk openly about being gay. Or lesbian, I suppose, specifically. I think that's what you meant, right? Took me a little bit to get it. Yeah, we get what you mean, Fenrir. Name a ride of your choice. Alright. What do you want to name and what do you want to name it? This is... What's this scenario? This is Three Monkeys Park. With the iconic triple dueling coasters, except I recolored them. To be whatever flag with red, white and blue in it you want. In the hot dog stall. Cock stall 1, cock stall 2. Jesus Christ, Gary. And they call me inappropriate. Hey Mom, are you watching? She probably isn't. If she watches, it's usually the start of the stream. In honor of ex-Prime Minister Wim Kok. Very ex-Prime Minister. He was like in the 90s? I definitely don't remember him. I remember Balkenende as the first Prime Minister that I remember. Balkenende we just usually used to call Balkenelende. And you know, Mark Rutte, of course. Mark zit weer aan te kutten. The non-Dutch folks will not understand their jokes. Because their Dutch puns are kind of, not necessarily puns, but play on words, stuff like that. I grew up thinking girls only for me, boys are ew. After a guy kissed me on the cheek, it unlocked a good old bi-curious in me, and now I'm comfortable with who I am. Very nice. Very good to hear. Hey, thank you for the 2 months, Fell Peak. Let's build an observation tower. Wait. I was about to build one here. They're literally next to one I already built that I forgot I had built. Let's build it on the other side of the park then. Where there is none yet. Which is probably a better idea. We're making it very, very tall. I like that jokes line. executed quite well. I do wonder how people feel about 9/11 jokes. Because, for example, I mean, I mentioned them before this live stream. The YouTube channel Smosh makes them not every day or anything, but fairly regularly. And, you know, at least from their fans, you know, their viewer base, they don't have a problem with that. Of course, some people will. But it's an interesting thing to think about. Because some people do make, you know, quite a few jokes about that, and it's fine. It depends on where you make the joke. I guess so. Recently, for example, they had a podcast where it was a try not to laugh. So they were doing a podcast with the three of them, and, you know, they had to try not to laugh while trying to make the others laugh. And one of the guys kept grabbing new beverages from his jacket, and at some point he took out like the 7th thing, and one of the other guys said, "A 7th bottle has hit the table," which I thought was quite good. This thing is so tall I can not even see the top. I can barely see it. If I scroll all the way to the right. Now, of course, I'm not American, and especially I'm not New Yorkan, so for me, like, I don't even remember it happening. I was 4 when it happened. I don't remember it. So, of course, for me, it's very different than from especially someone who lived through it, but especially an American. So I can't really judge that very accurately. It's in pretty poor taste to make a joke about something where thousands died. If you think about it, it's interesting, right? Because at some point, it is no longer poor taste. Because people make jokes about horrible things that happened, let's say, 2,000 years ago all the time, and no one minds. You know, if someone died in a ridiculous fashion, or was tortured to death, like 300 years ago, then, you know, people make jokes about it and nobody cares. I mean, maybe well, someone does, but almost no one does. But of course, if it happened yesterday, yeah, it's not okay. Of course it isn't. And it's somewhere in between, you know, more and more people become okay with it. South Park made an episode about how long it takes for jokes on tragedies to be funny. Yeah, that is... I've never seen South Park, but that would very much seem like a thing they tackle. Or never seen that episode. I've only seen a few episodes ever of that show. I think it was 22.5 years. Like, it's literally been 22.5 years since 9/11. Well, 2 months more. So that's quite a coincidence. It's a similar thing, right? If you think about it. When does grave robbing becomes archaeology? Some people say we shouldn't, like, remove graves or stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, if the person's been dead for 100 years, who cares? But if the person's been dead for just 10 years, then I do care. So... where's, you know, when does it become okay? And of course this is all related to another kind of paradox, which I find quite interesting, which is the heap problem, or heap paradox. And you might know about it, but I'll summarize it anyway. Let's say you have a big heap of sand. Now I have a big heap of sand here. And I make it a little bit small. I take away 1 grain of sand. Okay, that's quite a massive grain. This is still a heap of sand. Take another grain away. This is still a heap of sand. Another one, still a heap of sand. Another one, still a heap of sand. But at some point you only have 1 grain left. That's not a heap of sand. When does it stop becoming a heap? And you can apply this to basically anything. Let's say you have a sheet of glass. A flat sheet of glass. And you make a small indent. You know, you curve it slightly. Then it becomes a ball. But if you curve it a lot and make it very deep, it becomes a glass. At what point does the ball turn into a glass? And if you make it very, very narrow and very, very deep, it becomes some kind of chemical thing which you use to like measure things. I forgot the name of it. Cylinder, is that what they call it in English? I forgot what it... Beaker? No, not a beaker. A beaker is more glass shaped. It's like a test tube. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, a bit like the ship of Theseus. A bit different, but close enough, I guess. Glass versus bowl is less of a shape problem, but a use problem. If you drink from it, it's a glass. If you eat from it, it's a bowl. But at what, you know... Yeah, what if you drink the leftover broth? You know, you can have soup in... I've had soup both from a bowl and a glass. I mean, not from a glass, a mug, but... Mugs are glasses for the case of this, because they're similar shape, just usually different materials. You know, I've had soup from both. It's not that simple. Yeah, if you eat cereal from a mug, it's a bowl. No, it's not. It's still a mug. Hey Max, what's up? We have a massive mini-sus. I built it in case you would show up. What are the stats actually? 627, 7.40, 5.28. You had people over for dinner. What did you make them? You made lahmacun, which is Turkish pizza. Okay, I was about to say I've never heard of that. But yeah, I've had Turkish pizza before. What makes it a mug is the handle. Okay. So, if I break the handle of a mug, it's no longer a mug. No, seriously, this is a fun exercise though. It's a bit related. You know, can you define a chair such that it only includes things that are obviously chairs, that will be called a chair, and not include anything else? Go on, try it. Let's see if you can. A horse is a chair. Yeah, that's the meme I'm referencing here. But it's interesting to think about, because, you know, people might say, okay, if it, you know, it's got 4 legs and the back, and you sit on it, that's a chair. Well, so does a horse. And that's the problem with defining things. You can... If you want to actually strictly define stuff, that's incredibly difficult. At least stuff that's like man-made or man-categorized. On elevated, small platform furniture used for sitting, usually with a backrest, usually larger than a stool but smaller than a throne. Okay. So a toilet is a chair. Also a good one. A throne isn't a chair. It is. A toilet is a porcelain throne. Well, was that... Yippee just said that a throne isn't a chair. Wait, no, that was Paul the Pincushion. Paul the Pincushion who said that. You could make a chair with 1 leg suspended with wires from a ceiling. So number of legs. Yeah, you could do any number of legs. And someone else mentioned an office chair as well. The point is of course that it's impossible to strictly define what a chair is, while only including things that we typically call chairs and exclude everything that we typically don't call chairs. And that's not just about chairs. Chairs is used as an example. It kind of goes for everything. Hence the sandwich argument. Oh yeah, is a hot dog a sandwich or not? Or something like that, right? No, I want that to stay brown. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? That's not how languages work. They don't have to describe every possible edge case. It's not a programming language. And I'm not saying that's how languages should work. It's just an interesting quirk of language to think about. And it kind of makes you think about how indeed language doesn't work like that. Because everyone knows kind of what a chair is. But at the same time, there is no possible definition for chair that only includes things we call chair and not things we don't call chair. And I'm just thinking about the musical artist Chair. When does a lake become a pond? Yeah, when does a puddle when does a pond become a puddle? The sand pile argument can be solved using counts and how much percentage you can take without creating a new one, without a small one. Wait, what do you mean? I don't believe it can be solved, but please explain. Because now I want to know what you mean. Isn't the puddle temporary? I mean, if there was a permanent puddle somewhere of like 1 meter by 1 meter, I would still call that a puddle. You also got that solved, as the biggest lake is the Caspian Sea. That doesn't mean we have solved when a puddle becomes a lake. But like ocean and lake, like a lake has a definition of kind of a body of water. I forgot the exact definition, but that's basically not part of the ocean. One of my favorite pieces of modern art is called 1 and 3 Chairs. It has a wooden chair, a big print of the dictionary definition of a chair, and a print of a photograph of the wooden chair. And it's very much this whole argument. They're all chairs, but only one of them is really a chair. Yeah. Check the number file, latest video regarding cones and what it means to be full. I have watched that video, but I have no idea how that would relate to... You can take a rather small percentage of its height and still have a large pile. Yeah, but how does that solve when a pile is no longer a pile? Like, how many grains of sand do we need before we have a pile of sand? It doesn't solve that. Not at all. Have you been somewhere that was ghetto, like a bad neighborhood? I don't think I've ever been there. I mean, sure, I've been in sort of the bad parts of Amsterdam, I think, in the Belmer. But, like, they're not ghetto, not even close. They're just maybe ever so slightly less safe than the normal parts of Amsterdam. When it comes to the heap problem, I think you need to apply fuzzy logic. There's definitely a state where a pile of sand is a heap, and definitely a state where it isn't. Between those two states, you cannot have a definitive answer to the question. I mean, yeah, that's the logical answer. But that's kind of what the paradox means, right? The paradox is kind of, there is no answer. I think I would consider that a shape issue, because a safe box might have enough grains to make a pile, but when it's flat it's not a pile. Okay, but if you shape them like a pile, then having 10 grains of rice is still not a pile of rice. Four grains can form a pile. No, they can't. Not in my book. If a tree were to fall over and no one was around to hear it, would a hipster buy its album? I don't even know what that means, but it's still funny. Speaking of chairs, I sent you an important image on Discord regarding chairs. I was gonna swear, but I'll just show it. Open link. Yeah. Where's the Cheratar? Alright, that's another go-kart. Okay, what are the stats of this thing? 627, 777, nice, and 462. And we charge 1680 for it, baby. And I think that's enough for today. My eyes are tired. Because of hay fever. They got tired earlier in the evening. Which is annoying. Usually, I can mitigate most of the symptoms with some, you know, over-the-counter medicine. So it's not a massive issue for me, hay fever anymore. But, you know, it's still a bit bothersome. Alright, let's see who I can raid. Round guest 1,000. I still have time for that. Well, if they're in the park. Okay, you know what? There we go. Goodbye. Okay, who can I raid? Of course, Brian. I really like Brian. And he's doing a Diamond Heights playthrough. But like with his realism, because he's a real theme park engineer. Check him out on YouTube. He made a commentary on his Forest Frontiers version of that. It's good. I'll drink some after the raid, Slang. You'll have to trust me. So, have fun at Brian's stream. And yeah, I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a good time. I certainly did. And yeah, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.